Okay guys, so this is our basic drawing skills video number 1. Here's everything you're gonna need. This is a little sketchbook that I made in making a mini book, which was the first demo. This little sketchbook is just gonna be for drawing techniques. So on the front, I haven't even done this yet. I'll put a picture on there for you when I'm done. But I'm gonna write drawing techniques or drawings by or whatever and write my name, okay? So opening it up, just go to the first page. This is gonna be our first drawing technique. I'm gonna call it simple shapes. So I'm gonna go ahead and write simple shapes. Okay, cool. Now I have an eraser, pencil, and a sharpener, must have. And this is my object I decided to draw because you can see it's already made of really simple shapes. Now you can use the simple shapes technique for photographs and things on your phone. The true pure drawing skill method that people are taught in school is to use real objects. It's called observational drawing. But anyways, I got this little guy here. The only trouble is when I put him down, he kind of, moves around a bit. So you might not see him the whole time. Okay, so here's what I'm going to start with. Obviously, his whole body is a simple shape. So you're going to start with that outside shape first. And I think when you're looking at it, you think it's really just an oval, but it kind of isn't. So I'm going to start with an oval and then change as I go. By the way, you'll see a lot of people when they're sketching, instead of holding their pencil like you would when you write, with a more vertical up and down way, when you're sketching, you want to start it off with very, very light lines and that you slowly change and erase and evolve as the drawing goes on. So I usually start like this with the pencil a little more horizontal instead of up. It kind of helps keep it lighter, but it also helps stabilize your hand right here so you can make more even and symmetrical shapes. So I'm starting out with that, but then I'm going to look at it, kind of pare it down a little bit. I can see that this guy has a little bit of a bump right here that is really its wings. And the top, I don't know, third of it or so is the face, right? So we got this little thing going on. And then the sides connect about right here, about a third of the way down. That's where these end. So basically, you want to, whenever you're drawing, try not to think about what object it is. It doesn't matter whether it's a owl, tractor, sunflower, somebody's nose. Doesn't matter what it is, because what you're doing is trying to make lines and shapes that look like that object. So if you focus too much on what the object's supposed to be, it actually takes away from the real task that you have to do, which is break it down into lines and shapes. So now, easy peasy. It's got giant eyes. I think that's why everyone likes owls. Big eyes are cute. I mean, okay, that's a big assumption to say that everyone likes owls. I don't know. Okay, we got eyes. Okay, now, drawing a perfect circle. Can it be done by hand? Not really. Not really. But what you can do is draw it lightly, keep going back and forth, going over it, erasing it. Bizarrely, doing it quickly seems to make it easier. If you're pushing really hard and taking your time like this, it's actually more difficult. And probably the most difficult thing of all is making things symmetrical, making them the same on both sides, which is why I'm telling you, do it lightly, okay? So I've got this little shape here that is its nose. So I'm just gonna erase a little bit. I'm going to talk a little bit more about proportion in the next drawing demonstration, but proportion really means how big is that thing compared to the real thing, right? So when you're looking at these eyeballs here, this little nose, you got to think about it in proportion to these two eyes. A lot of times when we're drawing, we end up making, the translation, which is what you're drawing, it's translated into a, you know, a two-dimensional artwork. Oftentimes we forget that this, whatever piece, needs to be the same size in relationship to this as it is on the real thing. Even though the drawing we're making, like in this case, my drawing's actually bigger than the object. So what I'm trying to do is remember that this little guy right here, he is, oh, you know, he ends about the same place where this ends. So I'm trying to focus on that. And this, the top of it, if you drew a line across it, it would go right to where these pupils are. So trying to keep all those things lined up is a big part of it. Okay, so I got his little nose. And actually, the more I stare at this, I can see it has its own imperfections. It has its own asymmetry. Okay, so then it's got some kind of grooves here. Extra cute. We call this in art, we call it radial lines. Things that radiate or come from a center. Which is also the root word for radiation. Radiation. Because radiation radiates from the sun. Okay, so we got that little guy in there. I'm going to go ahead and make these black. I actually can't help it. I want to do a little shading, maybe. That's 4 different demonstrations, so I'm trying not to do that. I'm going to tighten up these lines here, because you can see they're real fuzzy still. I'm actually going to use a Sharpie to help with that. Okay, here's this little guy here. He's also got some lines here. Because these are like his feathers. Oh my gosh, I forgot. He has one bizarre little foot down here. I don't even think I like that. It looks stupid. So I'm actually just going to give him 2 feet. Because I just think that looks dumb. Some things when you draw them, I mean, whatever, it's your drawing. If you want to change it, do it. Okay, there's his little wingy wings. Oh, okay. Anywho, these little drawing exercises, they aren't supposed to take you that long. That's the key word here, is exercise. They're not supposed to be big old masterpieces. This is a sketchbook, and we are making sketches, which are really practice drawings. There's my little guy. I just realized, too, if I actually did use a Sharpie, I don't think that would work out in this book, because it would show right through this page and show up on the back, and it might even show up on the next page. The paper, and probably the paper you're using is a little bit better, but this paper I'm using is really thin. All right, so I'm going to go in and just clean them up a little bit. This is the time that I switched to kind of really pressing with my pencil, same way that you would when you're drawing, when you're writing. I also find, and this is very true for a lot of people, I have a really hard time forming words when I'm drawing, because I'm immersed in what I'm doing, and it's hard to talk. So this is supposed to be a basic drawing. I'm gonna talk about shading in another demo, so no need to talk about that now, but whatever, this is your drawing. If you're already clear on how to do this kind of stuff, go forward. If you're bored, if you want to try shading it, if you want to make it perfect, you do it. And I'm not going to require any coloring right now. We're just sketching. You can see I'm just trying to erase all these extra sketchy lines, or at least most of them. And of course, it's really, this guy looks like a penguin. He looks like a penguin, doesn't he? 100% looks like a penguin. Okay, I'm just going to put a little bit of gray right here, because in the real one there is some. He's actually a salt and pepper shaker. What's this? Salt shaker. skimming a little bit of this. Okay, so easy peasy. So I've got one little drawing. That's it for that. And we're going to do another drawing on the next page. All right, have fun.